What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. Early on, I stated, I don't think a single card in here will be worth the value of a $60 box early on, and that this is a worse Dark Neostorm. That's not an insult to the set, but it's been one of the most interesting sets to actually talk with my community about. Yawn of Majesty, or Dawn of Majesty, however you feel about it. Early on TCG Player, we see Synchro Overtake as the top priced card with an actual sale. This poor sap who bought them at $66 a piece. Yikes, because over on Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily, this is why you wait for the big boys, even if they're sponsors. Tier 0 Daily, I have them as sponsors because they're good for community. They punch up towards these pre-sellers over here and then show what can be done. Synchro Overtake at freaking $20, man. Now, over towards the other top, and they have Stardust Dragon at $1,000, and that might be because I see Tier 0 sold one at $700, and a lot of the estimated value pulled versus how this will go out versus case openings is kind of interesting. Where is the value if nothing is worth the value of a box outside of Starlight? Stardust Collector Rare was worth a lot of money. This is a higher rarity. I do wonder how that's going to float down. Will it be 700? Will it be 500? I don't think it's worth the 1,000 personally, but how much of this will get opened is a good question. Also, Luber has a lot of hype. I feel like my player brain interferes because I like mechanically how it works, but I can also like how a deck building set's deck works, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pan out price-wise in the market. But if you are in the market for this early, they also have a deck core on this at just $150, where you can use code WhatsGood5 for 5% off and support the channel directly while getting cheaper cards. And it ends up being, look at that, there's already 3 Luber in there. You get all the ultras, supers, etc. A decent price for now, but I might wait and see how it pans out. I know a lot of people are actually targeting specifically the Despias as we approach towards Burst of Destiny, thinking I'll let it cool down, then I'll buy it then. But if everyone's thinking that, then there could be some weird week 1, week 2, or week 4 buyouts, as Burst of Destiny is only 2 months away. So time how you're going to go for certain cards, but I do think a Luber, even at this price, might be a little overpriced. Now, Iris Sword Soul, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Tier 0 has her a little bit cheaper, and as I mentioned, we'll be going through Tier 0 in a bit, so go back and forth between these websites. We have daily shipping to the US, and then Tier 0 international for free, but Synchro Overtake here at 20, such a good deal, and so is Stardust Synchron at 15. I even think Shooting Majestic Stars, like, maybe a $12 to $18 card, but it's 15 here early. I don't envy anybody pricing this out and trying to see how it's going to turn out personally, and I just would stay away from the Gizmek Souls early. I think that's a $1 card, even if you're into the deck later. I wouldn't rush towards it. But overall, I think Daily's done a great job of pricing it, and it's really good looks at the set. Now, Iris Sword Soul, it mixes with Dogmatica, it mixes with Zhang Zhan, which is actually what Sword Soul is, so it's in that archetype. It's our first look at a card in the archetype, so people are looking at it towards the future. But I don't know, her effect versus what she needs to do as a non-extender card, it is a little weird to me, but I gotta see it in some gameplay before I judge too harshly. I feel like it's a waifu with some backing, which is why it's interesting that it's early on $250 on pre-sales for that kind of thing on a Starlight Rare over here. Now, going through TCG Player, again, it's over expensive. Everything's priced up versus what I'm showing, and that's why I love these people coming in, not just slightly undercutting each other and actually putting in that work. They seem to agree that Ready Fusion will be atop the set rather than the Synchro spells. We do have Stardust Synchron here at 27, a bit more expensive, and then you also have Synchro Overtake around that $20 mark on Tier 0. So both of them are pricing this early on at 20, when I feel like people will want multiple of these, and it will continue to get hype as Synchro decks and support come out. So this is definitely the secret rare I would be watching during pre-sales. With pre-sales, I only call my shots on a couple of things to go up, and I hold on those. I think that's how to approach pre-sales. I wouldn't just buy everything, because obviously more and more competition ramps up, but Synchro Overtake, and by that extent also Stardust Synchron, especially on daily, are what I would be watching and thinking about. Also, BeeTrooper Scout Buggy, the tour guide of insect monsters. I really like this card, and that youthful optimism inside of me that says Konami's actually gonna make this good, because the first support was overwhelmingly past what I could think. Well, I had no expectations on that first support, actually, so this is better than I thought it could be. It's got my mind racing on how BeeTrooper will turn out. And we can only wait and see, because Burst of Destiny doesn't need to be any better. Konami knows that too. They might have put their way best foot forward on this, but I really do hope it gets some substantial updates and kind of does its thing. Weevil Underworld Duelist rise up. So we also do see that the Ultras are cheap early. I think that the best seller, if we actually go on daily, is also the Synchro Wolf that I've been saying to keep your eye on. And it is around just $3 by them, where other pre-sellers have been putting it at 8. And I also know Cali Effect was talking about Darkest Dragon Doom Rider is something you should be watching from the set, just 50 cents, and it is on their top sellers also. So do consider how the actual sales rates on pre-sales are going versus cards you plan to pick up later. Now, if you're shopping tier 0, they have free shipping at just £50. You can come up here and put it to US dollars and switch back and forth to see if you get free shipping. But if you're just after a couple cards like a lot of people are, they have Dual Devastator at just $35 on the US market. This is like $50, and they also have the singles priced out very, very well and competitively for what is in stock. And then you also have Yugi's Legendary decks, which got a rewave in the EU, but not over here, competitively priced if you're picking up multiples of them especially. And then Speed Duel Battle City, which is around $50 in the US, over at $42 on their site, and code What's Good 5 for 5% off to support the channel directly and get your cheaper prices along the way. And finally, the gold-plated cards are something I really enjoy collecting. They've restocked Slifer, Obelisk, and Ra, which have been getting harder to get. And if my math serves right, it seems that with people getting their Blue Eyes, it's marked USA and above the number 600 already confirmed from somebody who got one in. So it seems like there might be 2,000 of those nice platinum Blue Eyes that people spent $1,000 on. These are just $35 and limited to 5,000. Isn't that interesting number-wise? If they ever re-release that Blue Eyes, there would be like 4,000 of them, whereas there's only 5,000 of each of these. And they've got classics like Dark Magician, Blue Eyes himself, Dark Magician Girl, Exodia, Blackluster Soldier. I really enjoy collecting these, but that's just me. I don't know that they'll go anywhere super in price. And then they're one of the only places I still know that have pre-sales on the 2021 collector tins. These have been flying off the shelf for them, I've heard, and with that international free ship, I know that's a lot of regions thirsty for cards that might want to pre-order over here. So there's a lot of easy ways to get your orders up to over £50, and I would consider what you're ordering versus pre-orders, of course, but a lot of these are in stock like Dual Devastator. Tier 0 doing a great job as a company. Keep it up, man. I really love what you do, and I love what Daily has been doing on the scene too with the singles. Tons of great deals on both places. Now, moving around to what's happening due to Dawn of Majesty, well, anytime a new core set releases, it either drives prices up or down on other sets as attention is driven away. And while the sealed has interestingly stuck around $68 for even the less considered / received sets, Diviner's gone down in price, Arlecchino's been crashing, everything has been going down in price for the most part outside of Ascended Sage, which has gone up and down, and also Kisi Kill Frost has been getting a lot of attention and very low quantities in this set. So these are ones to keep your eye on, as everything else has been falling out if you've been waiting to get it. An awesome time for Lightning Overdrive. That's why I do think there's an opposite effect here. People will be grabbing cards instead of turning attention away as we get to Burst of Destiny for certain cards. But the sealed hasn't been getting any cheaper because a lot of those pseudo vendors have been out of the game, as we've discussed. Those people who would order 10 cases and then wait and list later, or try to get in early and panic and bottom out the price, they're not there anymore. So a lot of these boxes have been getting more expensive to grab later. Inzektor support is up as people speculate on that new Inzektor card. You see Hornet, the ultimate rare buyouts, that kind of stuff. It doesn't really mix all that well with the BeeTroopers, it feels like, but there are a couple cards that end up going in the deck. And then Resonance Insect is a weird bio. I have so many of these. I have hundreds of these. So I might actually have to go digging and do a sale for once. $3 a piece is ridiculous to me, but it is one of the best insect cards printed. It reads, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one level 5 or higher insect type monster from your deck to your hand. That good effect where you don't have to rely on an effect or an opponent or whatever, just sent from the field to the graveyard. If this card is banished, you can send one insect type monster from your deck to the graveyard. Also a Foolish Burial when banished. Two good effects on one card. I can see why people are suddenly after this one with the BeeTroopers. Also, Dimensional Shifter has been slowly creeping up in price. Unlike Dark Ruler and the More and the Biru, it does not currently have a reprint. It was the lowest end of the 3 promos in those great Megatons. That word, promo. I remember when Konami had promos. It was here, and this was one of the least considered ones, but still good by default, and it has just gone up and up and up over time. Now, we talked about on last Market Watch Shooting Star Dragon going up, as, of course, people look at all Stardust collectibles. What I didn't look over in Star Strike Blast was Red Nova Dragon, and almost every copy of it has been inching up, but the ultimate rares are just crazy. What can I say besides Star Strike Blast? And also, I was thinking by that note, Red Dragon Archfiend collectibles, to wrap back around to last Market Watch's Domain Monarch discussion, you never know what you might have that's worth money. Tons of Red Dragon Archfiend cards are just worth a decent amount, and if you've been collecting them, some of them have turned out very, very good for you, like Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend, or of course the original Red Dragon Archfiend Ulti First, which is so hard to get. So many of these cards are up in price. It's worth a gander on your own time to go through here and see what money you might have that you didn't know you had. Thanks for watching. What do you think of Dawn Yawn of Majesty? How do you feel about it? Do you think certain things are going to spike and hype up later, or do you just think it's all downhill? This set is a sleeper. I want to hear your thoughts, especially more so towards BeeTroopers, because that's kind of what's starting to grab my attention as people experiment and say it's almost there. This is a penny stonk, that's a penny stonk. A lot of attention going into it and actually money into the market. I do wonder how this is going to turn out in builds as we get our second support, but we've been let down. Remember Vendreads? I remember Vendreads. I was so hopeful with that first support. So I've been ruined in that kind of sense time and time again, and somehow they always just get me with a little bit of a surprise like this. But overall, I do think the Synchro support is definitely the thing to watch. With Synchro overtakes $20 pre-sales on multiple sites, yeah, I would consider that one probably the earliest.